Today's top stories from Western Globe TV. A man pleads guilty to threatening Colorado election official. A Nebraska man pleaded guilty last week to making multiple threatening posts on an Instagram page associated with an election official. According to court documents, Travis Ford, 42, of Lincoln, made multiple threats in August 2021 toward the election official, specifically, "Do you feel safe? You shouldn't. Do you think Soros can protect you? And, your security detail is far too thin and incompetent to protect you. This world is unpredictable these days. Anything can happen to anyone. The Justice Department will not tolerate illegal threats of violence against public officials," said Attorney General Merrick B. Garland. "Threats of violence against election officials are dangerous for people's safety and dangerous for our democracy, and we will use every resource at our disposal to disrupt and investigate those threats and hold perpetrators accountable. Threatening violence against election workers in an attempt to intimidate them while in performance of the duties will not be tolerated," said FBI Director Christopher Wray. "Threats to election workers have no place in our society, and today's plea demonstrates the success of our collaborative efforts to ensure the safety of the workers we entrust to effectuate the democratic process. We are proud to work with our partners at FBI Denver, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Nebraska, and the Justice Department's Criminal Division to hold this defendant accountable for threatening an election official in Colorado," said U.S. Attorney Cole Finnegan for the District of Colorado. "If you make online threats of violence, do not count on remaining anonymous." Ford also posted similar messages on Instagram pages associated with the President of the United States and with another public figure. Ford is scheduled to be sentenced on October 6 and faces up to 2 years in prison. A federal district court judge will determine any sentence after considering the U.S. sentencing guidelines and other statutory factors. Assistant Attorney General Kenneth A. Polite Jr. of the Justice Department's Criminal Division, U.S. Attorney Stephen A. Russell for the District of Nebraska, and Assistant Director Luis Quesada of the FBI's Criminal Investigative Division made the announcement. FBI Denver is investigating the case, with the assistance of FBI Omaha. Trial Attorney Jonathan E. Jacobson of the Criminal Division's Public Integrity Section and Assistant U.S. Attorney Tessie L. Smith for the District of Nebraska are prosecuting the case. Substantial assistance was provided by Assistant U.S. Attorneys Aaron M. Teitelbaum and Cyrus Y. Chung for the District of Colorado. This case is part of the Justice Department's Election Threats Task Force. Announced by Attorney General Merrick B. Garland and launched by Deputy Attorney General Lisa O. Monaco in June 2021, the task force has led the department's efforts to address threats of violence against election workers, and to ensure that all election workers, whether elected, appointed, or volunteer, are able to do their jobs free from threats and intimidation. The task force engages with the election community and state and local law enforcement to assess allegations and reports of threats against election workers, and has investigated and prosecuted these matters where appropriate, in partnership with FBI field offices and U.S. attorneys' offices throughout the country. Nearly a year after its formation, the task force is continuing this work and supporting the United States Attorney's offices and FBI field offices nationwide as they carry on the critical work that the task force has begun. Under the leadership of Deputy Attorney General Monaco, the task force is led by the Criminal Division's Public Integrity Section and includes several other entities within the Department of Justice, including the Computer Crime and Intellectual Property Section of the Criminal Division, the Civil Rights Division, the National Security Division, and the FBI, as well as key interagency partners, such as the Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. Conflict, violence and other crises left a record 36.5 million children displaced from their homes at the end of 2021, UNICEF estimates, the highest number recorded since the Second World War. This figure includes 13.7 million refugee and asylum-seeking children and nearly 22.8 million children who are internally displaced due to conflict and violence. These figures do not include children displaced by climate and environmental shocks or disasters, as well as those newly displaced in 2022, including by the war in Ukraine. The record number of children displaced is a direct result of cascading crises, including acute and protracted conflicts such as in Afghanistan, fragility in countries like the Democratic Republic of the Congo or Yemen, and linked shocks exacerbated by the impacts of climate change. Just like fragility, child displacement is spreading fast. During the previous year, the global number of displaced children increased by 2.2 million. We can't ignore the evidence. The number of children being displaced by conflict and crises is rapidly growing, and so is our responsibility to reach them, said UNICEF Executive Director Catherine Russell. I hope this alarming number will move governments to prevent children from being displaced in the first place, and when they are displaced, to ensure their access to education, protection, and other critical services that support their well-being and development now and in the future. Crises like the war in Ukraine, which has caused more than 2 million children to flee the country and displaced 3 million internally since February, come on top of this record high. Additionally, children and families are also being driven from their homes by extreme weather events, such as by drought in the Horn of Africa and the Sahel, and severe flooding in Bangladesh, India, and South Africa. There were 7.3 million new displacements of children as a consequence of natural disasters in 2021. The global refugee population has more than doubled in the last decade, with children making up almost half of the total. Over a third of displaced children live in sub-Saharan Africa, 3.9 million or 36%, 1/4 in Europe and Central Asia, 2.6 million or 25%, and 13%, 1.4 million, in the Middle East and North Africa. As the number of displaced and refugee children reaches a record high, access to essential support and services like healthcare, education, and protection is falling short. Around 2/3 of all refugee children are enrolled in primary school, while only around 1/3 of refugee adolescents are in secondary school. Uprooted children, whether refugee, asylum seeker, or internally displaced, can face grave risks to their well-being and safety. This is particularly true for the hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied or separated children who are at heightened risk of trafficking, exploitation, violence, and abuse. Children account for approximately 34% of detected trafficking victims globally. UNICEF urges member states to adhere to their commitments to the rights of all uprooted children, including commitments established under the Global Compact on Refugees (GCR) and the Global Compact for Migration (GCM), and to invest further in data and research that reflects the true scale of the issues facing refugee, migrant, and displaced children. UNICEF calls on governments to take 6 actions to achieve equal rights and opportunities for all refugee, migrant, and displaced children, provide equal support to all children, wherever they come from. Recognize refugee, migrant, and displaced children as children first and foremost, with rights to protection, development, and participation. Increase collective action to ensure effective access to essential services, including health care and education, for all uprooted children and families regardless of status. Protect refugee, migrant, and displaced children from discrimination and xenophobia. End harmful border management practices and child immigration detention, and empower refugee, migrant, and displaced youth to unleash their talents and realize their full potential. Comeback on July 12. Super Junior, the 9-person Atmosphere, K-pop legend, Super Junior showed through the first teaser of the 11th regular album Volume 1. Possible overwhelming feeling. K-pop legend, Super Junior, which proves synergy from the first group teaser of the 11th regular album Volume 1, predicted the scale of the 11th regular album with a unique atmosphere. Super Junior released the first group teaser image of their 11th regular album Volume 1, The Road, Keep On Going, through the official SNS at 11 p.m. on the 15th. Super Junior, who announced the start of The Road, Keep On Going, with the concept trailer on the 13th, caught the attention of domestic and foreign music fans by foretelling a grand scale in this group teaser. The 9 Super Junior members, including Leeteuk, Heechul, Yesung, Shindong, Yoonhyuk, Donghai, Siwon, Ryowook, and Kyuhyun, showed a harmonious chemistry that can only be found in group activities in a stable composition. Beyond growth and maturity, Super Junior's mature atmosphere conveys an unusually overwhelming feeling. In addition, it stimulates curiosity about what kind of story the members' eyes contain. In particular, the white and red colors that decorate Super Junior's clothes in the teaser image attract attention. These factors raise expectations for the new concept of The Road, Keep On Going. Through The Road, Keep On Going, and the new world tour, Super Show 9 Feet, which departs from Seoul on July 15, Super Junior will continue their active group activities this year. Super Junior, who gave a warm sensibility with the special single, The Road, Winter for Spring, in February, is expected to show the side of a K-pop legend, with new music and stage once again. Accordingly, attention is focused on Super Junior's teasing content, which will be released sequentially after the group image. Super Junior will also release new content for The Road, Keep On Going, on the 16th at 11 p.m. Super Junior's 11th full-length album Volume 1, The Road, Keep On Going, was released on July 12 at 6 p.m. on all online music sites at home and abroad.